Good afternoon.
Here in Daytona, it's a huge difference. It's almost a mile less in overall length. And what that correlates to is if you look at the lap time difference going around this place, it's 17 seconds a lap faster. So when you talk to the drivers, everything here happens so much faster. You have to get the passes done faster. Just a pretty fun track, but also chaotic, Dylan.
And it is changing every time we come back here as this racetrack kind of sits and bakes in the summer heat. That's been a topic of conversation in the garage already this morning, how it's going to look differently tonight. We talked about Austin Hill. He is without a doubt, he's good at every super speedway racetrack, but especially here, he just has such a stranglehold on this racetrack. How do you beat him though? That's the question everybody's asking.
Yeah, it's such a unique combination because RCR has the best cars in the series at this type track.
Some guys that just say, we just got to be that aggressive back and just kind of, as you said, Jamie, get him shuffled out of the mix here, and then we like our chances. For more on the 21, we say good afternoon to Carla Metz down on pit road.
Yeah, Dylan, more on the 21 and more on RCR as a whole. That is a team that everybody, when they come to these drafting style tracks, has circled as the team to beat. And some of the guys telling me in the garage earlier this week, they do think they're beatable, especially the second race of the season. He said you go back, look at 2022, 2024. Austin Hill did win those races, but he seemed to struggle with the handling of his car. Said RCR maybe trims out their cars a little too much in the heat. I also asked Daniel Dye from Colleague Racing a little bit about this. He said it's just difficult, even with an alliance from RCR. He said because they're so good there, they don't need help, and they also don't really need to give help either, Kim.
Well, Carla, Catherine Legg will roll off first during qualifying, and it has been a jam-packed year for her. She's making her 5th Xfinity Series start here this weekend, her very first start at Atlanta in any series, but that's not the only thing that has kept her busy. Let's take a look at some of the things she's done this year. Competed in her very first Chili Bowl. She's also made her ARCA Series debut at the World Center of Racing. If you remember back in Phoenix, she made her Cup Series debut. She also somehow, I don't know how, found time to write and release a children's book. And she also competed in her second Pikes Peak Hill Climb. Before she got on board the Xfinity Series car for qualifying, I asked her kind of what's been the most fun or rewarding thing of all the things you've done this season, and she said her foray into NASCAR. And I said, are you just saying that because we're here at a NASCAR race? She said, no, I really am motivated to see how good I can get across NASCAR series. She also added that I forgot she has a podcast too. So lots to keep her busy in 2025.
Thanks, Kim. And yeah, I talked to Catherine earlier this year kind of about the same thing, and she said that she really enjoys this gloves off, and that's how she explained it, gloves off, lay it all out there type of racing that is so different than what she is used to. Comes from an open wheel background. She's raced sports cars, about anything with wheels she has driven and driven it to success generally. So great to have her back in the field in the Jordan Anderson Racing number 32 car, and she's our first qualifier as she rolls onto the racetrack.
Yeah, and if you saw as she rolled away, there was a stop sign. She had to roll up there and stop, and the reason that NASCAR makes them do that is because the teams always push the brake pads back away from the rotors to try to get a little bit of extra speed. But obviously, it's a little bit of a safety hazard as you get to pit road if you forget to pump the brake pedal up. So they now have this procedure. They make you sure the brakes work. But I will tell you, I think this will be eye-opening for her. When we were just referencing, I know she did Daytona in the ARCA race and has a little bit of experience with drafting type tracks, but everything just happens so quick here, and the track is going to, I think, appear a lot narrower than what you see, especially at Talladega, than what you even see at Daytona. And I just, we say this every week in the Xfinity Series, there are drivers who don't get to race every week, and it is really hard just to jump in and go out and do this, especially against people that do it every single weekend. But gosh, she might be the busiest human I know. Unbelievable.
Passion for racing, no doubt about that, and certainly tip our hat to her that she has continued to give it a go here in the Xfinity Series. 2 rounds of qualifying today, by the way. Top 10 from this first round will advance and do it all over again. Catherine completes her run and sets the early mark with a 32.532 second lap. That's just about 170.5 miles an hour. Patrick Staropoli will be next. There he is in the 24 car for Sam Hunt Racing. The doctor slash race car driver. Talk about guys that are busy. This is one of the great stories that we've followed throughout the year, making his second start of the year. Also saw him in this car at Martinsville earlier this spring, but we saw their first Atlanta start. This will be another one with eyes wide open today once we get the green flag later tonight. Yeah,
and Patrick kind of picked both ends of the spectrum. Like, let's go to Martinsville and then let's go to this crazy place at Atlanta. But it's cool to see him getting to do what his passion is and get out here and be a part of the Xfinity Series.
Finished 16th at Martinsville back in the spring, and he'll displace Catherine Legg at the top of the board here through our first 2 qualifiers at a 32.49. Look down the list of qualifiers here. There's a few guys that go a little bit earlier than we're used to seeing. We'll see Eric Almirola 6th out. Austin Hill is sort of in the middle as well here.
Sheldon Creed goes out early.
Yeah, he does. So we'll get a good idea here of just how much speed is in this racetrack as the sun continues to bake down on it. It's probably close to 90 degrees here today. Feels like a real summer Atlanta day. So qualifying for these guys, obviously I'll say this, there are probably tracks where it's more of a challenge for the drivers to qualify than here at Atlanta, but certainly a lot that you can do to make sure your car has speed around this racetrack.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be the story tonight. Is we heard talk about the RCR cars maybe being a little more trimmed out. Listen, if handling becomes an issue, that whether you're trimmed out or have a little more drivability in your car, it could be a huge factor at the end of this. It's going to be fun for us to kind of figure out who has what.
Chris Wright completes his qualifying run, and we'll check back in downstairs with Carla.
Yeah, Dylan, here with Daniel Dye. You flew yourself down here this morning. I know you've been working on your pilot's license, but now you got to get ready for this race at Atlanta. Finished 7th earlier in the year. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah, just got to be a little bit more aggressive early, trying to get a couple stage points. We're in a tough spot with the points situation, so hoping our number 10 Chevy is as fast as Xfinity Mobile. Really cool to have B-Pro on here. Cool new scheme, so excited to put on the racetrack.
We'll let him get in his car, guys.
Flew himself down.
Wow. I honestly didn't realize he was working on his pilot's license. Awesome.
It's pretty incredible the amount of drivers that get their pilot's license. I feel like the Roush guys back in the day were the ones that I always thought of. Carl flying himself to all the races each weekend.
Here's Joey Gase, and his run is already in the books, 32.91. He was 4th quickest at Talladega, so we know this car has got some speed in it at these wide open racetracks like this.
I think that was a little bit of a surprise for all of us to see.
I think so too.
That car where it ended up, but good for him. It doesn't seem to have anywhere near the speed that it did at Talladega.
Ryan Ellis is the 5th car out to qualify. Finished 18th here in February. That's an Atlanta finish.
Yeah, and I think the big story for him is finally getting that top 10 finish at Charlotte. We talked with him in the offseason. He's like, that's my #1 goal this year. It's huge for this team with the funding that they have, and he's a great guy. I've really enjoyed getting to know him over the course of the year, and it was awesome to see him get that top 10 finish at Charlotte earlier.
And now he just wants more. That's
wants another one.
The satisfaction is never complete, is it? Ellis goes to 3rd at a 32.59. Here's Eric Almirola back in the Joe Gibbs Racing number 19. 7th start of the year, and this was his win in one of those 7 starts. That dramatic closing a couple of laps at Phoenix where he raced Alex Bowman side by side, door banging to the line, and in the photo finish, Almirola in the 19 gets it done. Raced here as well in the spring, finished 3rd.
And that car didn't have speed. He's as good of a drafting driver as anyone in the series, and he found himself up front at the end, but overall it didn't have any speed. Like, they just maybe had more drivability built into it. They qualified 16th here in the spring. We'll see kind of where he's going to end up. He's first right now at 32-31. Not a bad lap. Actually quite similar to what he ran in the spring.
And I think you talk about the handling versus speed debate tonight and where that kind of sorts everybody out. I think this group, all the Joe Gibbs cars, are feeling good about the handling that they have built into their race cars. Kim?
Well, caught up with Winston Georgia's own Austin Hill. This place has become the house of Austin Hill. As we look at qualifying, though, it seems to be straightforward, but as the track has aged and with these hot temperatures, does it make it a little bit more challenging?
Well, I hope our Bennett Chevrolet is as fast as Xfinity Mobile. We're about to find out. I think for qualifying, it's pretty straightforward still. I don't think the track has aged enough for qualifying to have any handling issues, but I do think when we get in the race later on tonight, there's going to be a lot of handling issues. You're going to have a car that has raw speed but also has the balance in it and drives good. So I felt like we had that earlier in February, but it was a lot cooler out. It's a lot hotter out, but it is a night race, so there's a lot of different variables going into tonight, a lot of unknowns, but we feel really good about our Bennett Chevrolet. Everybody at RCR, ECR Engines always brings a really fast Bennett Chevrolet to Atlanta Motor Speedway. And yeah, for whatever reason, this place has been good to me, so hopefully tonight's one of those nights we can get it done again.
We'll let Austin climb aboard his car.
See Mason Maggio in the 53 for Joey Gase Racing with some issues. And here's some radio that may possibly diagnose what he's battling.
Something happened. I don't know what it was, but with the motor, I went into shift and it just, I don't know what happened. It just sounded like it was bogged down.
Well, that's not what you want to hear. Everybody will make the show tonight, 38 cars, but regardless, maybe a bigger issue for the 53 team to try to sort out here over the next couple of hours as Nick Lights hits the racetrack.
Yeah, that's the tough part, right? When you don't get any practice at all, you just don't have time to acknowledge any of those issues. Sounds like they might have a motor issue. Hopefully they can get that resolved and get it fixed up before tonight.
Lights will conclude his qualifying run in 7th, 32.98 of the 7 cars that have officially made a time. Maggio was out there and did not complete a lap officially, so he will be at the back today. Good to have Garrett Smithley back in the number 14 car, the SS Greenlight machine. Good looking race car as well for Garrett, who spent a lot of time at this racetrack on the infield quarter mile, racing Legends cars.
That's so cool. I bet for, to come here and do that in a Legend car and then get to come back and get on the big track, because for all those kids, like I see them every weekend. Like you can see the dreams of wanting to get out and be on the big track, and that's really neat that Garrett's getting to live that dream.
Checkered. He's got a familiar, semi-familiar voice and face on the pit box this weekend. Doug Richard is calling the shots this weekend for that group, who, of course, led Dale Earnhardt to his 1980 Winston Cup championship. Doug was 19 or 20 years old when he did that, so pretty cool. Been listening to the documentary that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is doing, and he talks a lot about that season and about Doug on the podcast there. So it's cool to have Doug, who was he was at Roush when you were there, I think, wasn't he? Probably, Jamie. Was he still on Greg Biffle's car?
I think you're exactly correct there. It was gosh, that seems like so long ago, Dylan. When you bring that up, it's hard to even remember those times. But yeah, I think you're correct.
Good lap for Blaine Perkins. He goes to the 2nd spot at a 32.42. Plenty still to come here from the Echo Park Speedway. Heard from Daniel Dye a little bit ago. Austin Hill and Nick Sanchez. in the 00 for Haas Factory Team.
Yeah, Sheldon was another one of those guys that at 17th here when we were here in February. It seemed like that car didn't have tremendous amount of speed, but he's really good at these style of racetracks, and they just need to have a couple of things go their way. I feel like it's just consistently against them right now. You know, some is self-induced, but you know, another tough run at Pocono last week, finishing 36th.
Yeah, they have lost 22 points to the playoff cut line.
He was safe.
Lost it last week.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, he was safe a couple of weeks ago. We're like, well, he'll be fine pointing his way in the way they're running. But what they have had just if it
Bad
can
luck.
go against you, it's went against them this year.
Yep. Tough stretch for sure, trying to turn it around here, and he's on a good-looking lap here compared to Almirola. 10th and a half up right now for Creed. Finished 4th here last spring for his best finish, and will lower the mark to a 32.10.
That's P1 right now. Get in.
P1 by a couple tenths over Almirola.
Yeah, and a little quicker than they ran when we were here in the spring, which I would say is a really big gain for them, because as hot as it is out right now, motors don't make as much power. Handling's going to be a little more important. So the fact that they came back with a little more speed tells me they've made some good changes to that 00 car.
Daniel Dye on board with him right now. RaceToStopSuicide.com support on his race car. Looking forward to seeing what Daniel can do here this weekend. Finished 7th here in the spring and has put together some really nice runs here over the course of the early part of the summer. College racing as a whole, I think, has started to kind of turn a corner. Christian Eckes has been good, top 5s the last couple of weeks for him. Won't be the lap that Daniel's looking for here, though. 5th at a 32.52. Let's check back in downstairs with Kim.
Well, Dylan, whenever we visit drafting tracks, Brennan Poole's always in the conversation. But as we look at Atlanta, you know, we think about Daytona and Talladega as opportunity tracks. Is there as much opportunity at Atlanta with how quickly things happen?
Yeah, you know, it's a difficult place to pass for sure, and you really just have to be methodical all day. But I don't know, I always feel good coming here. I always love coming to Echo Park Speedway, the new name this week, and I have to try to not forget. But yeah, I've had really good handling race cars here the last several races, so I feel like we just need to stay out of trouble, be smart all day, protect the right side, don't let anyone get to your outside, and just hold the track position. It's gonna be interesting. The fuel window's a little weird the last stage, so but you know, I think we're ready for it, so stay out of trouble and see what we can do at the end of the day.
We like weird, Dylan.
We do like weird.
That shakes it up and gives us something to anticipate and see how that's going to go.
And he's not the only one that I've heard that from today. So I like how that bodes for us later this evening on the CW. Leland Honeyman completed his run, 4th fastest for the Koch Family Racing 70. And I think we should just not say anything during this entire run and just listen to the Kyle Sieg X pipes on the 28 car. Such a good sound.
Oh, it's incredible. They should be required.
I agree.
Listen to that thing.
It's got it sounds like it's going 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, or 300.
Yeah, or 300.
Yeah,
it's probably going.
It's just an amazing sound. You know, that used to be what everybody ran.
Yeah.
I feel like these guys do it just because they still like the sound of it, right?
I agree. This is a group that it kind of seems like that's why they would do it. Sieg goes to 6th. The tracker on the bottom, by the way, now comparing to the cutoff line in 10th here. As we said, 2 rounds of qualifying today, so you got to be in the top 10 to have another shot at it to go for the pole a little bit later on. Carla?
Here with Brandon Jones, another Georgia native. You have one top 10 in the last 6 starts, but I know when I talked with you in February, you said you had kind of maybe figured out a little bit more on this track. How prepared are you for today?
Yeah, I'm excited first off to be home. This is home for me. I didn't grow up very far at all from this racetrack, and so excited to have Watts Menards be a part of our race this weekend. This is always a different track when we come back to it because we were just joking that it's so hot outside, and it really is. It's always a different temperature when we come to the second race of the year, and I think our race cars with Joe Gibbs Racing actually play into that a little bit. I think we're always a little bit better when it's hotter out, so I'm kind of looking forward to that and excited for it. We've made a lot of adjustments and improvements to our Toyota Supers as well, and so I'm kind of excited to see if those are going to be the right direction for us this afternoon. But I think you're going to see handling come into play way more than you have here in the past. It seems like every time we come back to Atlanta, Echo Park Speedway now, that it loses a lot of grip, and so I'm expecting the track to be slick today, and I think that always makes for the race to be a little bit better. Yep.
Huge
CJ
lap.
McLaughlin.
Huge lap for CJ. I'm so happy for him. He's such a great guy, and he's missed out on a couple of these because the car not being quick enough. But they brought him a great car. Oh,
That is impressive. On board here with Austin Hill.
he gave us the peace sign. Did you see that?
I did see
backstretch.
that. Oh, did he?
Yeah, he must be feeling really good about that. And this is going to be a great lap. This is going to be quicker than what he actually ran here earlier this year.
Goes to second. 32-17. Hey, here is the peace sign.
Yeah, what's up?
See it.
Yep.
Oh, he's just chilling.
Yep. Hey, peace.
Yeah. Maybe did he know he was on? Maybe he knew he was on camera.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
he was
actually
on camera.
I misspoke there. I thought that was going against the fastest time. That was actually going against the cut there. That's about 4/10 slower than they ran here in the spring. So I think that tells you that Creed's lap's really good, because the fact that he was able to run just a little quicker, and then a guy like Austin Hill, who, you know, the RCR cars are just consistently on the front row, to see that he's quicker than them, that's a great sign for Sheldon.
Also saw the skeleton gloves on Austin Hill. We'll see a few more drivers with those. Dale Jr. Foundation, and Dale always had those skeleton gloves, so cool to see some guys supporting that cause this weekend. Nick Sanchez goes to 5th.
And Dale even wore those on the pit stop last weekend when he rolled
Did
them
he?
out. Oh yeah, he
I didn't notice
he
that.
had those on there. It was great.
That's awesome. Sanchez's time a 32:32. Creed still fastest at a 32:10. And again, top 10, if you're just joining us, top 10 advance to the second round of qualifying. So that's what the tracker will show you as Mason Massey heads out. Douglasville, Georgia driver. Finished 6th here a couple years ago for his best career Xfinity Series finish. A great cause on his car as well. Special Olympics Georgia adorning this Alpha Prime Chevrolet. And Massey goes 17, so not the lap he was looking for either, 33:14, but again, everybody will make the field.
Yeah, it's so interesting because he's over a second off of what Creed ran, but you can still race at a track like this, even with a car that slow, because of the draft. It doesn't equalize everybody, but it does allow cars that are, you know, significantly off the pace by themselves to be able to stay in the pack.
Here's Parker Retzloff in the 4 car. Another Alpha Prime racing car.
Another one of those guys that needs to have something go his way.
They do.
Man, it just, every week we look up and it's been tough for Parker, and he's such a fast little driver. Parker and I always, Kligerman and I always talk about how great of a qualifier he is at all these, you know, especially Martinsville, Richmond's, some of those short tracks. Kid's exceptional.
7th for Retzloff. Everybody's still chasing Sheldon Creed, and a few more drivers with a shot still to come. In the Cup cars at 7 p.m. on Saturday on TNT. Speaking of Cup, good weekend, or a good coming few weeks for our broadcasts. Kyle Busch will join us this evening. We've got AJ Allmendinger, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson all in the coming weeks. A lot of expertise and insight that will be very interesting to hear at some of these racetracks we go to the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's fun to get to have those guys come up here, especially after, come right off the racetrack and can come tell us everything that they're feeling and what they see. It's great insight for us to get to have them.
Kyle tonight won the Truck Series race here in the spring, was a part of that photo finish a couple years ago. Knows his way around this racetrack quite well. William Sawalich kicks off the second half of qualifying for the Xfinity Series today. He goes to 6th in the Joe Gibbs Racing number 18.
Pretty similar lap time to what his teammate Eric Almirola ran earlier today. It seems like all those Gibb cars are going to be kind of packed up together, which is pretty common for an organization when everybody tries to do everything as close as they can.
As we watch Matt DiBenedetto take his turn to qualify, go back down to Carla.
Yeah, Jeb Burton getting ready to roll off. We've heard a lot about this alternative strategy of you just trying to get as many points as possible. But after your finish in Talladega, coming to a place like Atlanta, you got to feel pretty excited.
Yes, ma'am, I do. Really appreciate first AJ Transport coming on board. They're a South Boston, Virginia company. That's where I'm from. So appreciate them, and hopefully we can have a fast 27 Chevrolet right here. Hopefully it's fast as Xfinity Mobile, but really appreciate all my guys. They're working really hard, a lot of late hours in the shop. We only got 35 employees. These guys have to spend a lot of time away from their friends and their family, and they don't get to go to the beach and take days off. So really appreciate their effort. We're sitting right there above the cut line. We just need a good points night these next 10 weeks and keep plugging.
I think he called Carla ma'am.
He did. He's a polite guy.
And I feel like he might be older than Carla. Feeling pretty good about that.
You think so?
Yeah. Jeb's very southern.
He's a southern gentleman. Yeah. He is. Yes. He says sir when he talks to me. I like that. Here's Dean Thompson for Sam Hunt Racing, 26 car. Had a tough go of it here in the spring. They finished 17th last week at Pocono. Dean will go across the line and settle into 15th. 32.64 for the 26 car. In one of 2 cars this weekend for Sam Hunt Racing. Already saw the 24 with Patrick Staropoli, second car out to qualify. And here's Brendan Poole. Heard from him a little bit ago. You see that 4 Cliff on the hood of his race car. That is in honor of Cliff Bowman, who was one of the co-owners of one of his sponsors, Mac Door Systems. Cliff passed away during this race weekend last year, and Cliff's wife Carla wanted to honor Cliff, and instead of having the Mac Door Systems on the car, they just put Cliff's name on there. So racing for a good cause this weekend.
Yeah, and if you had to pick a dark horse this weekend, this would be your guy. Like Brendan does a great job with this program, managing it on such a tight budget. But when you come to a track like this, and I asked him in the offseason, I'm like, do you focus more on this, like different engines, trying to do everything you can? And he's like, no, it's actually the opposite. He's like,
teams that need to turn it around. That 16 team just needs to keep doing what they're doing.
Boy.
Finally feel like they kind of have the ship righted and back-to-back top 5s for Eckes.
and for as many things as went wrong for them the last couple of weeks, it's kind of went the other way, and that's just how racing works. And just try not to get too high on the good days and too low on the bad days.
Easier said than done. But those guys definitely, they deserve to have a couple good runs. Have had a tough start to the year, but looking good for the 16 the last few weeks. Anthony Alfredo for Our Motorsports Or Young's Motorsports, I'm sorry.
Soon to be dad. We're going to say that a lot for Anthony. That's such a great moment. Anyone who has kids knows how special that is. While we were talking to Christian, Josh Williams ended up at 32.65, actually below his teammate Daniel Dye at Colleague. And man, there was a time that Colleague was just exceptional at drafting type tracks, but it seems like they've focused more now maybe on the intermediate stuff.
Carla?
Yeah, here with Justin Allgaier. He was running in the heat on the track yesterday. You get to run a car today. How do you think that's going to factor into qualifying here?
Well, so far, you know, we have a beautiful brand professional Peanut Chevrolet, so I'm excited to see what this car can do. And I'm just so proud of this team. You know, Jim Pullman and this whole group on the 17, but everybody at Junior Motorsports, the Hendrick Engine Shop, everybody at Chevrolet. When you have this type of temperature in a racetrack, that speed is so important. Having a great race car on ATV is a big deal. So excited for that. I do have to give a big shout out though. Mike Campbell, that's always with us at the racetrack, my PR and sponsor relations guy from Junior Motorsports. Him and his wife Caitlin had a baby last night. So baby Jack is looking for a checkered flag this weekend, and we're hoping we can give that to him.
Yeah, that's awesome, guys.
Oh, cool. Congrats to the Campbells. Mike, always one of the smiling, happy faces down there in the pits. For us pit reporters, one of the great PR guys down there, so congratulations. We saw Jeremy Clements. He'll go to 15th, 32.58. And Brandon Jones, who we heard from a little while ago, another Georgia native.
He had that win in at Darlington was so good for him. I loved post-race interview, him talking about all the hard work he's put in and reading the doubters. I love that underdog type story.
Yep.
And for him to be able to come back, he's done a great job. It's been a tough last couple of weeks for this 20 car, but they have speed, you know, every single week. And as you look right there, boy, all the way up to third for Brandon Jones at 32.21. That's a great run, quite a bit ahead of his teammates and the other Gibbs cars we talked about. So maybe they have that car just a little more trimmed out for speed.
Yeah, best of the JGR cars. Jones third, Almirola is fifth, and Sawalich is seventh. Still yet to see Taylor Gray. He'll be out a little bit later near the end.
This would be a great story right here.
Yes, it would be.
This 25 car could get to victory lane. We know how good Harrison is at drafting style tracks, able to win at Daytona in the Cup Series last year. It was such a magical moment for he and his dad Jeff and that whole team, and they've done a great job of turning this AM racing team around from where they were last year. I was a little skeptical because you don't know, like, can you hire all the right people? Can you do all that? But wow, he and Danny Eflin, they have done a great job getting this car turned around. You see right there, all the way up to fifth, Dylan. Good lap for him.
Harrison is the only driver to finish in the top 10 in all three drafting track races this season. So this is a good opportunity for them to put together another good run.
Jeb's committed, got the hand up, the window net, going to get everything he can out of this. That's such I don't know the actual difference that makes. It's pretty minimal. I can tell you it's a lot of work to drive one-handed. Like, the drivers will downplay it, but you're death gripping with the right hand, trying to hold the wheel. Because the other thing, like when you do this, because you can run wide open, you want to hold the wheel as smooth and as steady as you can. Because if you see it wiggling back and forth, it scrubs a little speed out of the car. So I always felt like not holding my hand up there because I'm going to try to hold the wheel as straight as I can. But I love the commitment, Jeb.
I would hate to try to. You probably don't bobble that much on these laps. So
no.
I'd hate to try to catch one if you had to with one hand.
He needed two hands apparently.
Yep.
your team owner appreciated that, but you're quickly knocking off and checking off all the boxes on the different categories of places you can win. You've got road courses, now you've got an oval, although your team said it didn't count because it was a triangle. Here we're at a drafting track. That's kind of the next category. How optimistic are you here?
Yeah, honestly, you know, my track record, I've run 4 speedway races in my career, and I'm yet to finish one. So finishing this tonight would be great. But honestly, you know, I'm excited for it. We got Blues Hog back on the car. The car looks awesome. Hopefully it's as fast as Xfinity Mobile, but I guess we'll find that out later tonight when it's hot and slick and we're all sliding around.
That's Connor Zeller. We're going to let him climb aboard his car. And we should note, Marty Lindley, his regular crew chief, is back this weekend. You see him right there calling all the shots.
Poor guy. Everybody's talked all year about when he's going to win on an oval, and his team doesn't even count it.
Technicalities. I don't know about all that.
If you're a fan of good storylines, the last couple weeks in the Xfinity Series have delivered, certainly, with Connor and Junior winning last week, Daniel Suarez the week before at Mexico City in his home race. A lot to like in this garage area right now. Taylor Gray, another one on the playoff cut line. Needs a good run. He's got it right now, 4th at a 32.27.
Good lap right there. Yeah, you say 4th right there behind his teammate Brandon Jones. Going to be happy with that. It's going to give him a decent lineup for tonight.
And again, top 10 after this first round of qualifying will do it all over again. So you got to be in the top 10 to go for the pole position here in just a little while. So that is again what the tracker is tracking at the bottom right of the screen, and the top 10 highlighted in orange on the tracker at the bottom of the screen as well. Sammy Smith for Junior Motorsports in the 8 car.
Great run for him. We were here earlier this year.
That's right.
Finished 4th in a good position at the end. You just got to get a little lucky, somehow figure out how to beat Austin Hill when it comes down to a late race battle.
He's a winner at Talladega, so understands.
Get your stuff ready for pit road right here.
Understands the art of how to get around these racetracks, these drafting style racetracks. I don't know if that's going to be good enough to hold or not in that 10th spot, but either way, he'll have something to race with, and we'll see what his teammate has. Justin Allgaier in the 7 car, nearly a winner in this race. Well, the last few years. He's won here in the past, but
basically every weekend.
Yeah, he's always
every weekend. He's a threat.
He's always a threat.
This crazy guy I saw out doing his daily run at 4:30 a.m. with a group of guys.
That's early.
Yeah, I sent him a note. I'm like, I love running. I don't know that I love it that much. Yeah. It's still hot at 4:30. There's just no sun.
That's what I was going to say. So you can't really escape the heat.
That's right.
Allgaier goes to 12th. So he will not get a chance to run for the pole position. 32.44 for Allgaier. But again, finished 2nd here in February. Nearly won this summer race last year. If anybody can beat that 21 car, I think you got to look at the 7. Here's Christian Eckes. Mentioned his recent string of good runs, top 5s the last 2 weeks, has gained 23 points on the playoff cut line. And I spoke with Alex Yance, his crew chief, and he said, feels fun to be back at the racetrack again. These guys have had, as we talked about everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for them at some point throughout the year. So nice for their efforts to pay off with a couple of good weeks. And the Kaulig cars usually quick as well at these drafting style racetracks. Eckes goes to 13th at a 32.45. Getting down to the final handful or so here in this first group. Ryan Sieg, Tucker, Georgia native on the clock.
Yeah, big race for him, being a Georgia boy, and he had that incredible save when we were here earlier this year. This long, like, death slide. Didn't have any damage, but obviously had to go to the back. And man, the expectations just so high heading into this year for Ryan and where I kind of thought they were going to be. I don't think they've met those expectations. But last weekend at Pocono, great run for him, top 5 finish. Really had a great car all day long.
And these guys have been so strong last couple of years. You just never know when they seem to put themselves in position time after time to sneak one of these wins out. I think their time is coming for sure. Sieg will go to 10th, 32.37. And he's got 4 fast cars to get through before he knows if he's going to make a run for the pole.
I'm a little superstitious, and if I were going to pick a sponsor this weekend, I like to have the same sponsor that was on the winning car from last weekend with Connor Zillage, right? Good, maybe a little good luck charm. And I think there's some pressure on Carson right now, not necessarily within the team, but just within himself, because you come in, you have Connor Zillage as your teammate, and it's one thing for him to win on the road course, kind of expected, but then to go out and be able to win on the oval, I can tell as I listen to his interviews, I mean, he's super talented. He wants to get it done, and things have kind of been against him. But decent run last week, 6th at Pocono. So hopefully they can find victory lane sooner than later.
Yeah, hard as a rookie when you're comparing yourself to somebody like Connor, who has certainly exceeded any expectations. Quapple will be 21st.
This could be a threat.
Could
teammate Creed being the fastest overall right now. Sam Mayer's team hoping they've done just a little bit better job than what the 00 has.
Celebrated a birthday earlier this week. The team had a cake in there for him this morning when I was talking
How old
to
did
him.
Sam turn?
I should know that, but I don't have it on.
I didn't mean to set you up for disaster.
No, I'm going
right
to guess.
there. I'm
going to guess 20.
20 young.
22?
Yeah,
22. Okay.
Wow.
Close. And it seems like he's been around forever. We've seen him.
He's been for a long time.
Been racing in NASCAR since he was 16 or so. So it seems like he's older than that. Good lap for Mayer. That will guarantee him a shot to go for the pole. Third fastest right now, 32.19. Just a couple hundredths off of his teammate Creed. Top two all within that 32.1. Top three within that 32.1 second bracket.
This will definitely.
This will be a good test too.
The one that Sheldon Creed is worried about, based on what this 2-car has been able to do here in Atlanta, winning the last 3 poles. You know, his teammate Austin Hill is in second.
He has been the fastest guy in qualifying the last 3 starts here, but only one top 10 finish. So
gonna need a little bit more if he's gonna get it done today. It's so interesting about the RCR cars. You know, I mean, how dominant they have been in qualifying, and then for neither of those cars, at this point at least, to be the fastest. Maybe this next round they'll find that magic.
Yeah, that's the balance, right? Is if you think you've got a good enough car to run for the pole, you do anything differently here in this first round just to go for it when it really matters.
Right.
Love goes to 5th, 32.22. There's the Blues Hog Chevy of Connor Zillage.
I actually had a little of that barbecue sauce. At, yeah, really good. I went to the JRM Sponsor Summit. It met those guys, super nice group of guys, and has some delicious stuff.
I like this car too. I think it's a good looking car.
It does look good, yeah.
This was the sponsorship on the car when Kyle Larson took this car to victory lane earlier this year. So some good mojo for the 88. As we get a look at Nick Sanchez on the left, he is the bubble driver right now in 10th, and probably doesn't like what he sees.
Doing all he can to kind of wiggle that car on the right. Slow down just a little.
6th for Connor.
Yeah, that's the old courtesy smile right there. Right? He doesn't really believe it, but it's all right. I mean, he's still gonna be 11th overall. It'll be a good starting position for Nick.
Top 10 is set. They will re-rack and get another shot at it after they get things cooled down. And while we do that and wait for that, let's hear from Kim.
Yeah, CJ McLaughlin playing spoiler. He will transfer to the second round of qualifying. You're from the Northeast up there. I think they would call that a wicked fast lap.
Dude, I'm wicked pumped. I don't even know what to do right now. I don't know what to say. Never qualified this high before, so I'm like on cloud 9. You know?
Okay, so what do you have for the second round?
I'm not sure. Hopefully do the same thing I did the first round. We'll see. I don't know. I got a little squirrely there in turn 3, so hopefully don't do that again. But we got a really fast DGM Main Street Auto race car. Can't thank Main Street Auto and DGM enough for giving me this opportunity to drive around in circles, which I love to do. And I'm at a loss for words, you know? I'm so pumped up.
I mean, if the energy means anything, it means we're going to see another wicked fast lap in the next round from CJ.
Love that. Love the passion, and guaranteed to have his best Xfinity Series start as long as everything
I
goes
love
around
genuine,
the racetrack.
Genuine.
I do too.
I mean, it's so much fun to see that, how excited CJ.
that will advance from round 1 to round 2 and make a run for the pole. Haas factory cars. Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer in the top 3. Both RCR cars in there as expected as well. And already talked to CJ McLaughlin. Great run for him in that DGM Racing Group. Guaranteed top 10 start for the 91 team. Let's go back down to Carla.
Yeah, Sheldon Creed had a pretty good round 1 for qualifying, I'd say. Now you got to get ready for round 2. What more do you need, and how can you replicate that?
Yeah, pleasantly surprised with that. We're always debating on, how much do we trim it out for speed to be as fast as Xfinity Mobile, or do you go for handling in the race? And I felt like we, leaned towards handling for the race. So to go that fast, just extremely proud of everyone at the shop. Thankful for our Roush Yates engines under this Ford Mustang. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see if we can repeat that again and start from the front row tonight.
How much of that has been a team effort to have both Haas cars in the top 3 in qualifying round 1? And how eager are you for Ford to finally get a win this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's big for all of us at Haas Factory Team and our alliance partners with the Siegs and Harrison Burton. But yeah, great to have both cars in the top 3 there in round 1. And yeah, I don't know. We'll try to go repeat that, get the shifts right and launch good, and see if we can go fast again.
A happy surprise, Ken.
Carla, I'm with Sheldon's teammate, Sam Mayer. Sam, Sheldon was talking about setting up versus trim or handling. Where do you guys feel like you fell on the spectrum?
Yeah, I mean, we got pretty aggressive with it for sure, especially with what I've showed up here with the past. So I'm excited to drive it again. The first experience with it has obviously been pretty good. It's definitely as fast as Xfinity Mobile. But yeah, it's all about handling at the end of the day. And so I think we got a little bit of both. And so hopefully we can put this Autobell Ford Mustang in victory lane at the end of the day. Winning here at Echo Park would be a lot of fun, so let's make it happen.
Twice runner-up this season, but still looking for that first win with Haas Factory. What's going to make the difference?
We just need a little bit of luck to go our way. I feel like we've been in contention and in a really good spot to kind of capitalize and win races, but heck, we could have 10 top 5s by now, and we just don't. So I feel like the winning speed is there, and our consistency is pretty good. We just kind of put a full race together, and little things here and there maybe need to go our way, and we'll get checkered flags by the end of the year. We just got to keep doing what we're doing.
Stat of the day from our friends at NASCAR Insights up here.
I love these.
When would you guess the last time Ford has won a pole on a drafting track would be?
Well, I know it's at least 9.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with like 19.
Okay, 2014 at Daytona.
So how many races is that? We're looking it up.
Boy, I don't know. We're gonna get Jimmy on this here. Dakota Armstrong was the pole winner.
Would not have had that on the bingo card.
The last pole winner for Ford on a drafting track. On your bingo card today, but
43 races.
Yeah, 43
races
on a draft. 43
wow.
drafting tracks.
Well, I hope we see that change today.
Yeah, they certainly have the speed so far, and it was interesting talking to Sam this morning. He was excited, as are these rookies that come back to these racetracks for a second time. Sam was excited to come back here for the second time with this new team. Said it felt like they were really fast in the spring, but just frankly have more notes now as a team, as a unit that they can learn from, they can apply and have applied to this weekend. And I think it's reflected in that as the Fords have been fast. They mentioned Harrison Burton. He's in 9th. Ryan Sieg right there in 13th as well. So Ford's looking good and looking for their first win of the year later on this evening at Echo Park Speedway. This racetrack, one of the more unique ones on the schedule for the Xfinity Series. And let's hear what the drivers have to say about it.
Fall and the spring races are two. Without a lot of horsepower. It'll be hot, slick. So honestly, handling will play a little bit of factor, I think, in that. But still, at the end of the day, you have to have a fast race car, just like other speedways, and stay out of trouble and make calculated decisions.
Just seems like at the beginning of the race, the outside's pretty dominant and the inside kind of falls apart all the time. I think at the end of the race, both lanes kind of have to work together and go.
It's nothing like old Atlanta. Now we've got that repaved surface. It's actually getting a little bit bumpier. They've repaved it a couple years ago, and it's honestly already getting some cool characteristics to it and a lot of bumps. And the grip level every time we go there is going lower and lower every year.
I don't know that all the drivers love coming here, but I would tell you that from a fan's perspective, what we used to have in Atlanta, and the drivers always liked it because it was fast, it was slick and all that, it's so much more fun to watch. And it's really hard to prepare for. When you listen to all those guys talk about it, it's so instinctive and just reactive to what other people are doing on the track and who's going to help you, who doesn't help you. I just think this has turned into be one of the best races we get to have all year long. I cannot wait for tonight.
It is so much fun, and kind of Daytona and Talladega just sped up. So teams and race fans alike trying to stay cool. Round 2 of qualifying in the run for the pole next.
Your spotter's got to be on his game. He's got to have a good car. The handling really comes into effect here because the corner radius is so much tighter than Daytona and Talladega. So I felt like that's where we were good in the spring, with our car handled really good. And I know Mark Cronquist and all the guys, Joe Gibbs Racing Engine Shop, and everybody back at the Xfinity shop has been trying to find some more speed for us. So it's encouraging to make the second round here.
Well, I'm not sure if that was a compliment or a slam on my ability that I can do it, but I appreciate it. It's fun. We're going to be watching you. Can't wait to see what you can do tonight. So good luck here in the second round.
Well, I assure you it was a small dig, but we all know how great of a speedway racer you were. So I was just joking.
I know. I'm just kidding, man. Good luck tonight, dude.
Thank you.
That's awesome. He gave you a shot to defend
He did.
yourself.
That was good. Yeah, that's fun. He's such a great guy, and I'm telling you, as they're cooling this car down right now, so they can go back out and do this next round. Who really needs to be cooled down is the guy sitting in it. I can't imagine how hot it is sitting in there, especially after you go out and you run and it gets heat soaked to the car. You see that like radiation of the heat off the asphalt right there. You can see that off the dash inside of the car, and you're just sitting there, just sweat just pouring out of you. So those guys, they're tough, man.
Eric and his family just got back from a vacation in Italy last week. They said they were there for a couple weeks. So
that doesn't sound tough.
No, it does.
That
sounds pretty
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, as a part-time race car driver, you get to go on vacation to Italy and then come back here and jump in a race car that's pretty fast.
I think he's found a great balance, right? He's in this tremendous car at Joe Gibbs Racing, still getting to go do stuff with his wife and kids and enjoy life, and he's still super competitive. Yeah. I mean, he'll be a threat to win this evening.
Fast every time he's in that car with the great support from Young Life. We saw coming back from commercial there, they were working on the pit box. I think they were either the 19 pit box wasn't getting the car cooled down exactly how they wanted to. Either way, had to go run back and get the Williams Sawalich pit box to get plugged back in and get this car cooled down to optimum running conditions. So that's how hot it is. We're backup pit boxes are coming off the truck here.
I can assure you it was a panic for all the guys on the team as we were watching that go down. You want to get that car cooled down so you can run all the tape on the front. The tape adds downforce, but it also reduces drag. So it's free speed getting to put that on. If you can get the car cooled down to the point that you need to, it's guaranteed a faster lap time. It'd be fun, I think, to see how fast these guys can run. The cars almost always go quicker once the oils get hot, the grease in the hubs starts to warm up. All of those things normally add up. I would say you're going to see a couple tenths. That's what I would hope. Some of the teams can do a little bit better job, but Eric ran a 32-31 in that first round. So we'll see where the 19 is going to line up here.
In this car for his 7th start of the year. Last saw him at Nashville the end of May, finished 6th. And as we said, finished 3rd here in the spring in this race car. First car in Group 1, 32-21, so he is faster than he was in round 1.
Yeah, about a tenth. I think that you would hope maybe for just a little more. We'll see, though. It's really interesting because some of these cars pick up quite a bit, and some don't pick up much at all. And I think it's the prep at the shop and the fluids that they run.
Well, we've been talking about the weather, and part of the southern heat down here is you get these random pop-up storms, and we don't have rain, but we have lightning, and that's going to be a 30-minute hold, and because of that, because of the rest of the on-track activity scheduled for today, that's going to conclude qualifying. So, for the first time since Daytona 2014, a Ford is on the pole at a drafting track, and it's Sheldon Creed who will score his 4th career pole and his first pole since Michigan in August of last year, first one this season. So the speed that this 00 and the 41 car, both Haas factory cars, have had will pay off here, and Sheldon will lead the field to green later on this evening.
Yeah, I think the story tonight as we get into this is just handling of the cars, because it's definitely, the track has another year of wear on it, so it's going to lose a little bit of grip, but the heat's the big thing. Gosh, when we had jackets on. It was freezing when we were here.
Oh, it was
February. Super cold. You know that more than anyone.
I was going to say, you guys were up here in the booth.
Right.
Kim and I were downstairs.
I forgot.
As we've ever been.
I remember the hats now that we're talking about that, but that just, man, it makes the track so much slicker, and I think that's good though. The best drafting racing to me is the balance of drafting and handling, because you'll see some cars that can go really well on new tires and then fade a little, and vice versa. And you'll see at the end of a run, if your car's handling good, you be super aggressive. And that's just, it's so much fun to watch. And as a driver, it's so much fun to be able to do.
That's kind of what everybody used to. We talk about old Daytona before it was
exactly
repaved.
Right.
It was rough, and it had all this character to it. And it certainly adds a different dynamic to this race, or to these races, and we'll do so again tonight. Here's the starting lineup and how we will roll them off later on this evening, 7:30 Eastern on CW. Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill, the king of this racetrack, on the front row, kind of right where we expected Austin to be. Sam Mayer and Brandon Jones in row 2.
Yeah, and I'd say the win of qualifying, as you look right there on the outside of row number 4, CJ McLaughlin. That's awesome for him. We saw his excitement starting right behind him, the guy we just talked to, Eric Almirola. Know that he's going to be a threat, and then we go to the next
Come on, you're tight pushing, tight below. Come on, you're tight pushing, just keep the 19 on you.
Forward on the quarter. Clear, you're clear.
Justin Allgaier has the lead briefly. Here comes the 21.
Top of the push coming, cover the top.
7 is no help, stay off it. 7 is no help.
Almirola will try to work to the outside.
And they're separated on the bottom, that's it.
Now to the inside. 1 lap to go.
Hold it straight, 19F no help. 19F no help, clear low, take it.
Cars are wrecking. Big crash here.
Behind us, no yellow yet, keep coming, watch the 19. No run, all the way to the bottom here, we got it, baby, we got it!
Congratulations, Chad Haney. First career win as a crew chief.
Dude, I love you guys. Let's go, baby! Woo! Domination!
Well, the one thing that kind of sticks out to both of us, Jamie, was just the guys in the mix there at the end that could have maybe not a shot to win, but certainly had a shot to have a good run. Retzloff was in there, Christian Eckes was in there, a couple guys that we talked about in qualifying, would be fast.
Yeah, and I got to think that Allgaier had to have watched that back and just thought, I just would have blocked right the one time. Got a great restart, taking the bottom, took a little bit of a risk there with his teammate behind him. And then we saw Eric Almirola make that move on the last lap and get the inside, but the 19 just didn't have the speed that the 21 did. But this could be a little different race, like kind of based on what we saw in qualifying and the RCR cars not being quite as dominant as we've seen in the past. Maybe they'll be a little more vulnerable tonight.
Yeah, going to be a lot of fun and a lot different conditions as we talked about. Bitter cold here in the spring and not that here this weekend. It is hot here as you'd expect of the summer in Atlanta. And these kind of pop-up showers that are so common in the South here this time of year have ended qualifying prematurely here. No rain, but just lightning in the area and not enough time to get things restarted. So that'll do it for qualifying. Sheldon Creed, again, fastest. And the car that is 5th fastest, and that's where he'll start later on today, is Jesse Love, and he's with Kim.
And Dylan, as we talk about guys that could potentially win here later this evening in Atlanta, can't ignore Jesse. You've been close here. You've also won at Daytona. You've won at Talladega. What's the difference maker at a track like Atlanta?
I'm not sure. I think that it's definitely harder to build runs because it's more inviting for people to pass you when you do drag back to get a push. But I don't know. I feel like I've done about everything but win here and had really fast cars. So definitely a bummer. Second round got rained out. I feel we would have picked up a spot or two, but thankful for NASCAR for keeping us and the fans in the stands safe. So yeah, should have a car that's fast, Xfinity Mobile, and have a good race tonight.
You're coming off a runner-up finish at Pocono. You finished second to your good friend Connor Zilic. We saw kind of the battle at the end, the pass by Zilic. What's the week been like, kind of having to sit in his kind of glory?
Yeah, I kind of got no witty response for you, but man, it was a fun week. At the same time, it's still a bummer, but hey, I had a good run, and still proud of the speed that we had. I've been lacking a little bit of it lately, but we've been able to just kind of be gritty and have a lot of tenacity and kind of just grind out those good finishes. So yeah, hopefully we can. My main goal right now is get to second or first in the regular season by the time it's over with. I know the 7's pretty far out, but it's a good place to pick up a lot of stage points, make a big swing in the point standings. But it seems like the top 4 guys in the points right now are all really good at this racetrack too. So going to be a hot one tonight. But overall, I think that we had the right idea coming here, listen to some people in qualifying, kind of getting a little bit loose and lacking grip, bringing some more downforce this time around. Last time in the fall, it was hot and slick like this, and me and Austin were kind of sliding all over the place. And still a good speed, but definitely want it to be a little bit easier this time.
You'll have track position to start. You talked about how hot and slick it's going to be. What is the expectation in terms of the type of racing we might see tonight?
I don't know. I think you'll get a little bit of a breakaway. I think that some people maybe are a little bit too trimmed out, so you probably will see them fall back once they lose a little bit of track position. And cars are more, downforce will kind of make a charge at the front and hopefully stay up there like me and my teammate. Still a lot of speed though. ECR builds big power and brings big power to the racetrack, so that kind of saves us. We can still bring a lot of downforce to the racetrack and have speed, but yeah, it's going to be kind of that weird mix of intermediate but also pack racing, and also probably one lane on the top until the guys with downforce start making the bottom rolling. So I don't really know though. I don't want to have too many predictions. I kind of just want to be observant in the beginning and then kind of play it by ear and adapt as the race goes.
Sounds like flexibility is going to be key here tonight, guys.
And just to kind of get more inside baseball, I guess, just because that conversation has been so prevalent throughout the day today when you talk to these guys in the garage. When you have downforce and the track is greasy and slippery, car is going to be good. But when it gets cooler tonight, and I think cooler is a relative term because it's not going to get that
Cooler
much
than it is
cooler
now.
Yeah, but when it gets cooler tonight, when you have all that extra downforce and the track gains grip, your car kind of becomes draggy or less fast in a straight line. So there's a balance, right, of kind of, you want your car to drive good when it's hot at the early part of the race, but you also need something that works well at the finish.
Yeah, and there's just so many unknowns because as we listen to Jesse Love's interview right there, it kind of goes with what we were just saying. Like, well, maybe they have built a little more downforce in the car, but how much, right? Like, is it 2/10? Is it a tenth? Like, what is that? And has Sheldon Creed done the same thing? Like, I would say drivers don't know, right? That's the reality, right? Like, the crew chief might tell them that, but they don't really know exactly how much that is. And we'll have to find out together this evening.
Well, as we get into the heart of the season here in these summer months, playoff conversations running rampant. If you're a guy with a win, you're feeling okay. If you're a guy like Sam Mayer, you're probably feeling okay too. But you're getting down to the Carson Quapple territory and all the way obviously down there to Taylor Gray and Harrison Burton. Hard to ever really be comfortable, and with as much uncertainty.
He said it's been a minute. Polster, you got track position to start. What you guys can't see is behind us. He has like half his team here, including crew chief Jonathan Tony. How big is it for this team, Haas Factory, to get a pole?
Yeah, it's great. I think it might be the first pole for HFT. So, just extremely proud of everyone. We've had some up and downs going the last few weeks. So, to see these guys just keep grinding it out and building us an extremely fast friend of Jacqueline Ford Mustang, fast Xfinity Mobile. Yeah, just excited. I want to thank all of our other partners, Ollie's, Road Ranger, Pit Boss. Yeah, excited to go from the front row tonight and feel like we have handling built into it, and we'll try to go race for a win tonight.
All right, racing for the win. You've got the front row to start. What's on the checklist? Like, we have to do this to maintain that track position.
Yeah, first we'll be trying to keep control of the 21 over here. He's really good at these places, so just trying to keep ourselves up front in the fight. Good pit stops all night, roll pit road good, and yeah, just be there at the end for a chance.
You kind of mentioned that this came at the perfect time. There's been some inconsistencies. You know, it's been really feast or famine. What can something like this do to just boost the energy and enthusiasm of the team?
Yeah, just a good solid day today, I think, can lead into some momentum through the summer. And yeah, last week I was just mad at myself, drove it in the fence all by myself. So to be able to get a pole today and yeah, hopefully get some consistency and just a little momentum going.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Sheldon Creed will lead the field to green. He mentioned he's going to have to keep up with the 21. Austin Hill starts on the outside.
Well, I was going to say, Kim, he said he had to control you. Is that going to be possible today on a track like Atlanta?
Well, I mean, I'm not really sure what the track's going to be like. You know, with us qualifying during the day and in the draft. So, you know, it's going to be a night race. I think the track's going to gain some grip, but I also think the handling is going to be an issue. So our Bennett Chevrolet is going to need to be able to do both. It's going to need to be able to handle good, but also have the raw speed. Obviously, we have the raw speed. We're starting second to the 00. So, yeah, I mean, I think our Bennett Chevrolet was almost as fast as Xfinity Mobile. Needed a little bit there. I would have loved to have gotten that second effort. I think that we had some more in the tank maybe. But we don't want to show all of our cars at once. We want to save it for the race, and all that really matters to us is being able to hold the trophy at the end of the race. So, you know, hopefully we can just learn all night. These races in Atlanta, they always tend to race a little bit differently than the others. So I think that no matter how many times you've been here, you just have to learn and put stuff in your memory bank all night. And when it comes down to the white flag, you got to know what to do with it.
You've got all the wins here at Atlanta. Jesse has all of the poles and previous history. How much confidence do you come with here when you come to Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta's just been really good for us. There's been a lot of races that I didn't think that we were going to win, and we ended up winning here. So you can never count yourself out. There's been moments, you know, throughout last year, even in the summer race, where I didn't think we had no shot at winning the race. Our car was a handful. And then we have a late race restart get the lead and was able to hold on. So I think here at Atlanta, more so than anywhere else we go to on the super speedways, it's all about controlling the race. And if you can be out front and you can be leading, I think that's where you want to be. So hopefully we can do everything that we've done in the past here at Atlanta and go for number 6.
How much do you think handling is going to come into play tonight, especially being out on the track earlier in the day?
I think it's definitely going to come into play. I do think that you have to have that balance, though, of having the handling in the car, but also you still need the raw speed. So, you know, I think that with what we've seen last year here during the summer race, I know it ended up being a day race, but the handling was a huge issue. I mean, my car was out of control. You know, it was a handful. There were so many times that we probably should have fenced it and was able to hold on to it. Had to work on the car a lot throughout that race to get it comparable to some of the other drivers and have a shot at it. So I think that more so than anything, you're going to have the handling more so than just the raw speed. And I think we have that in our Bennett Chevrolet.
Got the speed and will qualify or qualified 4th, Dylan.
I like what he said there, too, about having to know different ways or finding different ways to win these type of races, because I feel like we've seen him do that not only here but at Daytona, even at Talladega where he won earlier this year. And I think that probably pays as much dividends for him at the end of these races as just having a car that drives well, just being able to make those quick decisions and having his experience to fall back on in those instances.
Yeah, and if you just look at results, you're like, well, it's easy.
Right.
But it hasn't been easy. He referenced that there, how much work it has been for him and all the different scenarios. The thing that sticks out to me is that he's made a career out of one racetrack in 3 years. Most people in the Xfinity Series will never win 5 races, and he's done all that in 3 years here. It's been, I mean, look at the stats, the laps led, every average finish of 2.7. It's unbelievable what he's been able to do. The other thing that Austin Hill has going for him is because of the speed he has and because of the decisions he makes, everyone is willing to go with him. And if you remember back in the day, the Dale Jr. effect, I remember everybody get annoyed, like, stop following him. He's the fastest car. Of course he's going to win. But they earned that. And I'm telling you, when you put the best drafting racer in the fastest car, or one of the fastest cars, it's hard to beat.
Home racetrack for him as well, of course. So that doesn't hurt that he has all the success that he has here. Winston, Georgia native. Lots to do here in the ATL. If you're a fan of stick and ball sports or cars going around in circles, they've got it all covered for you here in the metro Atlanta area. Great to be here at the Echo Park Speedway. ended because of lightning in the area. Sheldon Creed will lead the Xfinity Series field to green later this afternoon on the CW. Harrison Burton put a lap on the board good enough for 9th, and he's down with Carla.
Yeah, qualified 9th. I just asked you, how much more do you think you had to give in the second round? What'd you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's everyone says they're going to be faster, right? So you don't really know until you know, but, really proud of our guys. The last 2 weeks, Pocono, we unloaded as fast as Xfinity Mobile, and this weekend in Atlanta, I think we unloaded pretty close to where we wanted to be. We tried to build a little bit of downforce in this car, and we're kind of surprised we were in the top 10. So that's a good surprise, and hopefully we can, drive as good as we thought we were going to, and put this Dex Imaging Ford Mustang in victory lane.
Yeah, 3 top 10s on drafting tracks. You and I talked earlier this week just about what you've been able to do to improve on that craft. Where do you feel like you're at with that?
Yeah, I feel more and more comfortable, especially in this style of racing. The Xfinity race is so different than the Cup race, especially here at Atlanta, where the Cup cars are packed much tighter and kind of get through the air a little bit better, where these cars you can't really do that as much with the low downforce that we've got. So I feel like I learned a lot of lessons the first time around. Still got a good finish out of it, and hopefully now, this time, we'll get stage points, contend for the win. Myself and my spotter, Kevin Hamlin, are kind of dialed in on this stuff now and feel confident.
Dylan.
Thanks, Carla. Harrison again going to roll from 9th later on this evening for that AM Racing Group. Well, you talk about the teams to beat here tonight, and kind of the case every weekend. These two teams, Richard Childress Racing and Junior Motorsports, certainly powerhouses at the top of the Xfinity Series field. The RCR cars so strong at these drafting tracks. Wins in all 3 of those style of races this year. Junior Motorsports has been the best in class just about everywhere else. Laps led there, over 1,000 between their 4 cars, sometimes 5 cars. And then you look at the rest of the field. So the win goes through one of those 2 teams, sometimes both of those teams, just about every weekend in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is RCR has dominated drafting. Junior Motorsports has dominated everywhere else, but they both run good at the other place as well, like just every single week. But Junior Motorsports is having an amazing year. I think they're on track to have a career year for that organization.
It has been impressive for sure. Had all 5 cars in the top 10 a couple times this year. Of course, multiple wins. They've had 5 different drivers win a race if you count Kyle Larson, who of course won in the 88 car at Texas. So it has been impressive, just 4 wins away from 100 career wins for that Junior Motorsports group. So they are clicking them off at a pretty high clip here, and have been awfully good this year as well. But today it's all about Sheldon Creed and the Haas factory team. 4th